If you've tried to buy a steel Rolex at any point over the last 10 years, you already know the routine. You walk into the boutique. You ask about a Submariner, a GMT, or a Daytona. The salesperson smiles, takes your details, and tells you to be patient. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. The call never comes. Here's the uncomfortable reality. That waitlist was never an actual line. It was a carefully engineered scarcity system designed to transform a mass-produced steel watch into something that behaved like a financial instrument instead of a consumer product. By the end of this video, you'll understand how that system worked, why the official retail price was never meant to be accessible, and how the illusion of shortage was used to inflate perceived value across the entire market. At the center of this system is a convenient technicality. Rolex as a corporation publicly insists that it does not operate any official waitlists. Instead, it claims that allocation decisions are handled independently by authorized dealers. This distinction matters. By pushing responsibility downward, Rolex benefits from extreme exclusivity while remaining legally insulated from how watches are actually distributed at the retail level. In practice, the so-called waitlist functioned as a subjective interest register. Placement had very little to do with time. It had everything to do with prior spending, perceived loyalty, and long-term revenue potential for the dealer. If the list were a real queue, prices would remain stable. Instead, we saw an enormous and persistent gap between retail pricing and secondary market pricing. That gap is the proof. Retail price versus reality. The official retail price was never the true market price. It was a deliberately suppressed anchor designed to create the appearance of extraordinary upside for anyone lucky enough to buy at retail. Between 2020 and 2022, secondary market prices surged by nearly double on average. Even after the correction, the discrepancy remains extreme. Take current estimates. A steel Submariner date retails for just under $10,000, yet trades around $13,500 on the open market. A GMT Master 2 Pepsi retails near $11,000, but routinely sells above $23,000. The steel Daytona, retailing around $16,000, continues to trade near $37,000. That's not normal consumer pricing behavior, that's asset pricing. The Daytona tells the full story. At the height of speculation in early 2022, it peaked above $53,000, then lost over half its value during the correction. That level of volatility doesn't belong to a wristwatch. It belongs to speculative markets. Why the shortage felt real. For everyday buyers, the shortage was absolutely real. Display cases were empty. Inventory was invisible. This wasn't accidental. Dealers routinely held back high-demand models in what industry insiders call ghost inventory. Watches existed, but they weren't available to walk-in customers. Instead, pieces were pre-assigned to preferred clients before they ever hit the floor. Allocation followed a strict hierarchy. Customers who had already purchased high-margin items, jewelry, gold watches, or slow-moving stock, were prioritized. Everyone else waited indefinitely. This led to widespread bundling. Customers were quietly told that buying less desirable items would help their chances. In effect, dealers captured a portion of the secondary market premium themselves, while maintaining the illusion of fairness. The waitlist wasn't a queue, it was a filtering mechanism. Production was never the limiting factor. Rolex produces well over 1 million watches per year. That level of output eliminates the idea of a simple manufacturing bottleneck. Even when broken down by model, the numbers tell the same story. Authorized dealers receive very limited quantities not because Rolex can't make more, but because it chooses not to distribute them more widely. Increasing supply would immediately compress secondary market premiums and undermine the investment narrative that had become central to the brand's positioning. Scarcity wasn't a constraint. It was a policy. The Certified Pre-Owned reveal. The most revealing moment came with the launch of the official Certified Pre-Owned program. This move confirmed everything. By offering pre-owned watches at market-level pricing through official channels, Rolex effectively acknowledged that retail MSRP was no longer the real price of access. The certified pre-owned price became the new benchmark for immediate ownership. In one move, Rolex absorbed the very premium that flippers and gray dealers had been exploiting for years. What was once an unofficial arbitrage opportunity became a regulated corporate revenue stream. The implication is clear. The market value was always known. The difference is that Rolex now collects it directly, what the waitlist really was. When you strip away the branding and the mythology, the system served three functions. First, it anchored prices artificially low at retail to exaggerate secondary market gains. Second, it filtered customers, prioritizing those who maximized dealer profitability rather than long-term enthusiasts. Third, it created a psychological barrier, making ownership feel earned and justifying inflated pricing. This wasn't an operational failure, it was one of the most effective luxury distribution strategies ever deployed. Rolex didn't just sell watches over the last decade, it engineered assets. The waitlist wasn't broken. It worked exactly as intended. So here's the real question going forward. If you were choosing purely on market behavior, would you rather own the model with steady demand and moderate premiums, or the one with extreme volatility and massive speculative swings? Let us know your take in the comments.